being released back into the public without contamination. So yeah, that'll be exciting for the lady to go again. I always like spit or just cough or something at her. It's gross.
It's
Oh, yeah.
interesting times. It's very much interesting times, I would say. So just to recap, you would say the experience at overall fighting under the Bellator promotion has been good in regards to the safety protocols and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. I could see like for one, like that team always works hard, like always is so it's like one of those things like I really enjoy going to fight week, even like from usually like when I get picked up to the airport to like when I land at the venue, like it's always really good to see all the familiar faces and the guys that work behind the scenes, they work so hard. And they're doing like 4 shows in a row, so 4 weeks in a row, 4 Thursdays of just show after show after show. So these guys obviously are away from their families, also getting tested, also quarantined and everything, just like us. So it kind of felt like they'd nailed it by the time that I got there, I really feel. And I guess they were a little bit, they'd lost a lot of fights due to COVID, which is sort of like one of those things that some people like we really can't avoid that much at the moment. But at the same time, they were just like, you could see that they were just more sad for us because they were like, man, like we just really don't want you guys to go into these restaurants and stuff and then obviously get contaminated, test positive, and then have to pull out of your fight. Like that would be horrible for you, horrible for your opponent, and then obviously again horrible for us. But mainly they were just like, you can just tell that all of the guys are just like, it comes from a genuine place and they really love the sport and they really love us fighters. So therefore, like we always have good things like kind of around us to be able to like stay safe and everything like that. So yeah, all in all, like I cannot praise those guys enough for looking after us and making sure we're all safe. And from what I'm aware, there wasn't anyone on my card that had to pull out due to COVID, other than one guy before he left. There was one of the Hawaiians, Nainoa, I'm pretty sure is how you say his name, before he left Hawaii. So that wasn't even really, obviously, the Bellator team's fault, but such a
Yeah,
shame.
definitely, definitely. Um, so let's get back into you a little bit more. Um, where did we get this passion for combat sports?
I don't really know. Like, it didn't like originate from anywhere in particular. I've always been pretty sporty. I've always kind of been involved in sports and hobbies and stuff. I've literally tried everything. But I guess like once I started in martial arts, it was something that I gravitated towards and I really kind of picked up easily. So I really enjoyed it. I think maybe like the individual aspect, being an only child, being from a single parent, just constantly by myself and kind of independent, that definitely translated in my fighting and in martial arts itself. And then I guess like once it's one of those things, like a lot of people say, once you start, especially young, it's just an addiction, like from the get-go, mainly like the pull from the community, from the good influence, having goals set in front of you, structure in your life, obviously the health and wellness of being involved in something so active and everything like that. It's kind of had nothing but positive impacts on my life. And I think therefore, like I couldn't imagine not doing martial arts, even obviously after I have kids and everything like that. I'll probably still be involved in one way or the other, but maybe not fighting. And after I retire, I'll still, yeah, definitely love to have martial arts around in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's one of those things that kind of it chooses you rather than you choose it.
So you've always been active. So what was the actual, how did we get to the combat elements? You've been active, I guess, athletics and that kind of stuff. So did we start going down what the kickboxing route and then, or did you jump straight into sort of mixed martial arts?
So I started in karate, just as a kid when I think I was about 10. I started in karate, and then after I got my black belt, I competed a little bit, but not really too seriously. And then I just kind of felt like I wanted something a little bit more challenging, a little bit more mature, and something that I kind of felt a little bit more credible in myself. I felt that karate wasn't as realistic as I would have liked it to be. So therefore, I sort of stumbled upon MMA. It wasn't something that I seeked out. It wasn't like I watched the UFC and I was like, I want to do that. It was just literally like there was a MMA gym around the corner from my mum's work at the time. We tried it out. The coach was a perfect fit. The environment was awesome. And then, yeah, it just sort of like helped me throughout my school life. And then once I graduated high school, I obviously took it a little bit more seriously because I had more spare time. And then from there I started competing, and then it just went on and on until what it is now. So yeah, it definitely sort of the journey like evolved itself as it was going on.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on how it helped you throughout your education?
Yeah, I mean, high school is high school. It'll always be sort of tough and rough on everyone, I feel. But for me, like I was like when I started in high school, I was like quite popular, and then I felt like it wasn't for me. I felt like I wasn't maturing with the, I guess, popular group, if that makes sense. Like I didn't feel like my life was going in that direction just yet. And I wasn't ready for, I guess, these kind of steps up in just like all sorts of stuff, and mainly social maturity and stuff. So then I distanced myself from that, but I felt like I was a bit more of an outsider at that by that stage because I had sort of pulled myself away from a lot of things. And for that reason, I really feel like martial arts sort of gave me that community outside of school that made me always feel at home. Like I never felt like intimidated to go to the gym. I always felt like that was a safe place for me to go. It was extremely comfortable for me to go, and it was great to have a community of kind of older people around me that supported me, and had a different kind of outlook than my school peers and everything would have given me. So I think like for that reason, I was influenced by, like I was surrounded by police officers and plumbers and like mechanics and all sorts of people that I probably wouldn't have been exposed to unless I had started martial arts. And I was sort of in the gym like 2-3 times a week. So for that reason, it kind of was like, okay, like now instead of going to like a party on the weekend, I would go to fights, and I would go watch my teammates compete and everything like that. Or maybe I'll go to a jiu-jitsu comp or all these kind of things. And as much as I was really just doing it as a hobby at the beginning, that community I think saved me in a lot of ways, and it also gave me that independence and maturity, but from a different angle. It was like my maturity was definitely more in like the way of independence and like having my own money, earning,
Mm,
like looking after my own finances and that kind of thing. It really wasn't in, I guess, the ideas of like drinking and partying and boys
yes.
and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't really ready for that. I think mainly just because like I was a kid that came from New Zealand. I feel like New Zealand was a little bit of a step behind as well. So for me, it was good to have like-minded people around me, but just like a different outlook and a lot more mature. So I can definitely say that it got me through school. Like I did get a little bit bullied, mainly just by girls, and not physically. It was all just like cyberbullying and stuff like that. But it's sort of like my peace of mind and my inner confidence came from the community I had outside and the fact
Mm,
that I had something else to do. Like school wasn't my be all and end all, whereas a lot of kids these days, that is their 100% their life. And I guess
yes.
like when things go wrong, that can really affect them mentally, especially. So I was super lucky to have the guys outside. I was like, I don't care. I've got other friends. Like I've got
Mm,
friends outside of school. And they're fantastic. And I'll probably end up being friends with them for life. Whereas school is just like a small blimp in your lifetime. And I guess everyone says that, and you can say that to kids that are in high school now, and they can feel like the world is ending and high school is like everything to them. But of course, like it is just a blimp in the bigger picture. And eventually you'll grow out of it and become who you need to be. And I really feel like martial arts really helped me with that.
I get that a lot, that training in whether it's various martial arts or just one particular martial arts does provide um, youth and children and adults a lot of confidence, discipline, structure, and as you say, you build a community with your peers and your trainers, your instructors. It's really an enhancing part of life that I think people don't really appreciate. They just think, oh, it's it's you're fighting, or they don't really get the nuts and bolts of it. So it's great to hear these stories and how it develops and molds you into the characters and the people you are today, kind of thing.
100%. And I think it's like one of those things that, especially when you're speaking to like parents and young parents, especially, it's sort of just like, sometimes it can be confronting being like, all right, like I really would suggest your child start in jiu-jitsu or something a little bit more passive. And they're like, oh, isn't that like obviously like you break limbs, you choke people unconscious and blah, blah, blah. And like, of course, like face value it is, and on the surface it is, but they don't really mention the community these kids are going to get, the outside, obviously, network they're going to have for life, like maybe friends that they'll have for life that they may compete with, they may grade with, they may move up the ranks, they'll set goals, they'll have like certain passions and pursuits that they may not have had that would if they just stayed in school or stuck with the hobbies that were available to them in school. And it's sort of just like something that I would love as much as possible to push and sort of show a lot of people that there's so much more to martial arts than face value, and I guess just getting like injured or whatnot.
Most definitely, most definitely. So outside of training and of being within that community, what do you like to do? What are the fun things that you like to do?
A few, I guess, like during camp, these last few months have been absolutely insane. Just really busy, kind of being matched up and then not matched up, and just sort of prepping and getting everything sorted. So for the most part, I would spend a lot of my rest time gaming, and that's pretty much what I've been trying to do. Basically, just because like physical, anything more physical is going to
Yeah.
obviously be strenuous, but we're also getting into summer now, so definitely hitting the beach as much as possible, especially if I can get back to my home in the Gold Coast, and see everyone and visit all my favorite spots down there. And then yeah, just like I guess especially now that the weather's showing up a lot more outdoors, and now that I've got a little bit of downtime in a sense, a little bit less intense than it was in camp, I can just train for the love of it, and then on top of that, um, yeah, go outdoors and do like a little bit more. Like I've got a few friends that want to organize like some rock pools and stuff and some waterfalls and that kind of thing. And Australia is such a beautiful place, so we've definitely got an abundance of things that we can do here.
Excellent, excellent. Um, and what are what's the plan? What are the goals within Bellator? You're coming off a win now, so you're what 6-5 now?
6 or 4, yeah.
6-4 even, sorry, yes.
My I think my sure dog is wrong, but
Get them to update that, lass.
I think my manager tried to, but Tapology changes for me, but not sure dog. They're stubborn, but that's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, so
It's
what's
all
the
good.
goal? What's the plan? What are we looking to do for the remainder of 2020 or maybe moving into 2021?
Yeah, it looks like it'll definitely be 2021 where I get my next bout, for sure. I've said this many a times. I'm hoping that Leah and I can obviously maintain the matchup that we had back in May. I know that she's definitely keen for it, but obviously she's coming back from surgery. So I think around about that February mark will be a perfect time. Obviously, once I'm getting out of quarantine and looking towards what shows they're going to start lining up for next year, what the plan is.
Hmm.
I mean, like we're saying, a lot of the US is going into a second lockdown. So that's all pretty unknown, and it may affect travel and everything like that. And then, of course, I highly doubt there'll be any shows in the UK anytime soon, as much as there was a lot planned for like London and Dublin and everything.
Yes.
Earlier in the year, I really don't think the UK will be an option just with COVID and everything again. So therefore that adds travel on for Leah as well. So yeah, just finding the best spot. And I'd love to aim for February. I've definitely made that known. And I'm pretty sure that should look like it would be a great time for everyone. And then hopefully, obviously, another win in the column. So it'll be 2 wins after that fight, and then just looking to maybe get 1 or 2 more, and then of course looking towards a title shot and at least a contention. I think it's one of those divisions that sort of only takes 2 or 3 wins before you sort of get looked at as a #1 contender, and for that reason, I'll definitely be looking towards the belt within probably 2022 for sure.
And what do you see as your keys to success against the current champ?
I think just my dynamics of striking. I'm not as one-dimensional of a striker, especially I guess after that last performance. A lot of people can see I can handle myself on the ground, especially against black belts and everything like that. And obviously Chris just got hers, so that adds another black belt to our division. These are all things that I think being a little bit more diverse, having a good understanding of mixed martial arts in comparison to others that have faced her, and just using all of my tools to the benefit, especially things like my distance, of course, especially, and my kicks and everything like that. I think these will be things that will just play stylistically in my favor. Obviously, I'm expecting a tough fight. I never underestimate anyone, but I do think if anyone can beat her, it's me, and that's sort of how you need to think. Obviously, being in division, you can't really be sitting there thinking you're not going to get the title. And just every fight that I see of her just makes me more eager to kind of stand in front of her. It'll be one of those fights that I want to be ready for. So, of course, I'm expecting 1 or 2 more under my belt before then, just because I know I'm young in the sport and everything like that. But at the same time, I can't wait for the challenge, and I'm looking forward to probably around about 2022, standing across the octagon from Chris Cyborg if she's still got the belt by then.
Excellent. I like the confidence. And to be fair, with the range that you've got and as you say, the kicks and the distance, with some more developments and stuff, I can see that being a very interesting matchup, most definitely. What are your thoughts on Miss Harrison jumping down to 145 and fighting in Invicta?
I was talking about this in another interview actually today, and I was like, man, that's super exciting. Not just for her, but just for like the whole division. Featherweights, female featherweights as a whole is just growing so phenomenally, especially with a leading promotion being Bellator, having such a deep division of featherweights. We've got Kat Zingano, we've got Leslie Smith, we've got all these girls that we've sort of pulled from other shows, and then a lot of like I was saying earlier, a lot of girls that Bellator has developed themselves that are purely kind of, as much as obviously Julia was in Strikeforce beforehand, a lot of her major accomplishments have been within Bellator. And then someone like Arlene that has basically completely been built from Bellator. She hasn't really fought for any other international promotions, especially in the last few years. These are all girls that are phenomenal athletes on their own accord, and then obviously Bellator exclusive. So that really just gives credibility to Bellator as a promotion, and then again as to the featherweight division, which I guess like trending after when Ronda was obviously around, everyone was looking towards the bantamweights, and it really just seems like, I guess after Amanda's sort of been so dominant, it's just sort of nullified the bantamweight division in a sense. There wasn't as many like clear contenders. It wasn't as deep as it used to be. Some of the ladies that were fighting someone like Ronda have sort of moved on or dropped down or gone up. So it's all a bit strange in that sense, but I do feel like for that reason it's moving towards the featherweights, and we're really getting the attention now. People like Megan Anderson and Felicia Spencer and and then again Invicta, Kayla, and everything like that. We're all looking like studs in our own like promotions, and creating a really, really strong division that hopefully I guess we can eventually maybe cross contaminate and move towards like Amanda versus someone like Chris again, or Julia, or these like really, really cool matchups that we could get later on.
I think that the fighters want it most definitely. That the consumers, as the fans, want it as well. But as I've had this conversation with many people, whether connected directly to the UFC or not, it's not going to happen. It really isn't going to happen. It's very unfortunate, and I think it would put it all to bed. I mean, UFC is the premier promotion. We can argue if they have the best fighters in the whole world. That is why the conversation is we should be having, maybe on an Olympic style, have all of the major promotions put their champion versus champion, maybe not for that specific promotion's title, but we create a title for that event and those fighting that event. And then we all see everybody, can see exactly the outcome, and we can see who's the victor and who potentially has the best promotion and the best fighters.
Yeah, I really don't feel like we'll ever get the opportunity to see that as like a long-term thing, but maybe just like a once off. Or, I mean, obviously the only other option is watching people go over and re-sign with different promotions and stuff. Like the
Yeah.
Michael Chandler thing would be really interesting to see how he goes in his debut. I think put him against anyone and he's going to hang very, very well. It would be fantastic to see someone like Pitbull, who fought dominantly the other
Oh
day. I would
yes.
say weekend, but it's on a Thursday, against someone like Alex. I mean, that would be a phenomenal fight. And then yeah, watching these like the heavyweight, I forget the Russian. I don't know if he's Russian or somewhere round about Russia. The heavyweight Bellator title holder that recently won earlier
Oh yes,
um,
yes,
against
yes.
Ryan Bader. I
Hmm.
always forget everyone's name. But yeah, but like
Ask is
watching
it?
these
Yeah,
fights,
yeah. Ask is it
yeah,
Askarov or something
something,
like
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right, but I don't want to confirm or deny because I really don't know. But yeah,
Oh
but yeah, like these are things that are definitely like, I mean, I'm sure the fans would love to see him, and it's sort of like we're saying, very unlikely to happen as an agreement, like an official agreement, but maybe as like a once off. I mean, we've seen Ryzen and Bellator create a good
yes.
um cross promotion thing. People like Invicta don't have exclusive contracts, so that's been really, really cool. PFL obviously just telling everyone that they couldn't fight during this COVID year, which is great, but paying them anyway.
Hmm.
All these like kind of looser, I guess, agreements is putting a lot more power into the athletes like the boxing world does, and I
Yes.
really hope that that kind of continues on and we start creating our own sort of yeah, like, I guess, ability to have a little bit more control over how much we get paid and where we fight and what we do with it. So yeah.
Control is the key. Um,
It is.
very lastly, young lady, have you had fun today?
I have had a lot of fun today. It was my coach Renato Subotic's birthday, so we've pretty much just spent the day like I've just been getting stuff delivered all day. So and it's mainly just been food. But I've worked out to trying to counteract that. But yeah, this
Mm,
quarantine, funny enough, everyone's been like, are you going insane? Are you really bored? I'm like, man, I'm loving it. I've got nowhere to be, nothing to do, and it's been a crazy couple of months. So it's really nice to just tone everything down, have a little bit of time, do my taxes, do little bits and pieces, work a little bit on the couch, and I mean, we've got such a dope place, which we're really, really lucky because I've seen a lot of people quarantine, they didn't get as good of a hookup as we did.
mm.
And then of course, like we're just being able to order food and have that sort of downtime. So yeah, it's really, really good. I'm having a great day. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Where is the best place people can get hold of you? You give out all your social media handles, young lady.
Yeah, sure. Instagram's usually the best bet to stay in touch because that's what I update the most. But I do have Twitter and Facebook. All of those are basically Janay Harding. Twitter is Harding_Janay. And catch me on Twitch, also Janay Harding. And then if you guys want to get some dubs with me, add me on PSN. It's hollowpoint-15. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I would most definitely suggest everybody jump over to the Instagram page. As you say, you do keep it pretty active. Jump over there and subscribe, get in contact, and follow this young lady's journey. I think we're going to have some more exciting, interesting fights, and trustfully a lot
I think
more
so too.
wins in the win column, and we can see this 2022 realization of this super fight. Yeah, you want that strap?
100%. Always about the strap. 100%. 2022.
All the way. New champ potentially. Let's pull it out there in the ethers.
100%. The universe already knows, and it's working on it. It's moving it back to me.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you very much for your time. Everybody like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already done. Hit that notification bell. We'll be back.